Thank you very much for the question. I'm not sure that you want me to replay to things that really are asinine. And certainly the no.
So guys, there's this very powerful speech from Mottley. So it is a speech about reparation, it is a speech about slavery and whether countries that benefited from slavery should take responsibility for the harm that was done. And guys, recently Barbados Prime Minister, that is Mottley, responded to criticism about reparation, and I have to say her response has people talking all over. So guys, let's watch this video until the end. And remember, if you are new here, please don't forget to hit that subscription button, and also you can like out this video. So guys, let's watch, then I'll be back with a lot of comments.
Make comments in this year of our Lord. We have seen President Macron recognize that the conversation for reparations, just as His Majesty King Charles, when he was Prince Charles at the opening of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Rwanda, stated clearly that reparations was a conversation whose time had come. I have no doubt that there are British parliamentarians who want to distract people from the domestic politics of the United Kingdom at this point in time. But the Caribbean should not be used as a prop in those circumstances. Thank you.
Hello guys, I hope we have watched that powerful speech from Mottley, and what I can say, these are speeches about more than money. Whenever people hear the word reparation, many immediately think about money. Some people assume it's simply about asking former colonial powers to write a check. But after listening to Mottley as the response, I think she's saying that conversation is much bigger than that. From my understanding, guys, she's arguing that this is about justice. It is about history. It's about acknowledging what happened, and it's about addressing the long-term effects that slavery and colonialism left behind. Whether someone agrees or disagrees with a reparation, I think it is important to first understand what people are actually asking for. Why is it, or why is this conversation still happening? Some people ask, slavery ended a long time ago. Why are we still talking about it? I understand why people ask that question. But here is something I think about. The effect of history don't simply disappear because time passes. That is where a lot of people go wrong. And what I can say is that many Caribbean countries were built under colonial rule, guys. If you know the history, millions of Africans, they were taken from their homes. Families were separated. People were treated as property instead of human beings, guys. Entire economies were built using forced labor. You can see how this colonial thing affected a lot of people, because people, they were separated from their family. Those now are the historical facts, guys. So it is not surprisingly that many Caribbean leaders believe that these issues still deserve discussions today. The issue of being treated as property. One point that Mottley made really, and it really stood out, that point, is that she spoke about enslaved Africans being treated as chattel, meaning they were not legally considered a property rather than human beings. Just imagine that for a moment, a person could be bought, a person can be sold, inherited, and punished without basic human rights. When you really think about it, it is difficult to imagine the suffering people went through during that period, guys. You have read history and you know all these things. I think that is why the conversation remains emotional for so many people. Compensation was paid, but to whom? That is another question. Another point that caught my attention was her reference to what happened after slavery was abolished. She pointed out that compensation was paid to slave owners. Think about it. The people who lost ownership of enslaved people received compensation, but the formerly enslaved people themselves received nothing. Can you imagine? Whether someone supports a reparation today or not, I think the historical fact raises important questions. Many people look at that history and ask whether justice was truly done. This is no longer just a Caribbean discussion, guys. One thing I found interesting is that Mia Montley made it clear this is not just Caribbean issues anymore. She mentioned Ghana. Ghana is found in Africa, guys. She mentioned that the United Nations. She also referred to statements made by leaders in Europe. That tell me this discussion is becoming more global. It is not just one country talking. More governments and international organizations are beginning to discuss the legacy of slavery and colonialism. Now, that doesn't mean everyone agrees. Far from it. There are still many different opinions. But clearly, the conversation is growing. Some countries are be held responsible today. This is probably the biggest question. Should today's government be responsible for action that happened hundreds of years ago? Some people say no. They argue that today's citizens were not alive when slavery existed. Others believe that because many institutions and economies benefited from slavery, our generation there is still a responsibility to address those historical injustices. Personally, I think this is one of those issues where people can disagree respectively. It is a complex topic, guys, and it is okay for people to have different views. Why history matters? Sometimes people ask, why keep talking about the past? For me, learning history isn't about living in the past. It is about understanding how to arrive where we are today. History explains why certain countries developed the way they did. It explains migration, trade, we have economic, we have politics. Even many of today's global relationship can be traced back to history. So I believe studying history helps us make better decisions for the future. The Caribbean wants its voice heard. So guys, another thing I noticed there in Mia Montley's response is that she doesn't want the Caribbean to be treated like a side issue. She believes Caribbean nations deserve to have their concern taken seriously, whether it is climate change, it is debt, it is trade, or it is reparations. Small countries also deserve a seat at the table, and honestly, I think that is a fair point. A country's size should never determine whether it is a voice matters. My thoughts, personally, I believe discussions like these are healthy, not because everyone will agree. We also have, if everyone agrees, that will not be a meaningful discussion. So we must have those people agreeing and we must have those people disagreeing, guys. So, but because they encourage people to learn, too often we react before understanding the full story. I think people should read history, listen to different perspectives, ask a question, and then make up their own minds. If it was me, I would want people telling me what to believe without first understanding the fact to myself. That is why conversations like these are important. At the end of the day, this debate is going away anytime soon. The question of reparation continues to divide opinions across the world. Some believe it is necessary for justice, others believe there are better ways to address historical wrongs. But one thing is certain, history continues to shape the present. After listening to this speech from Mia Montley, my takeaway is that her message is much more than financial compensation. She's trying to say that conversation on reparation is really about justice. It is about truth and acknowledging the lasting impact that slavery and colonialism have had on generations of people. So you can see this is a very serious speech, and it's also trying to make us know what really happened. And Mia Montley is trying to make sense to some people. She reminds us that enslaved Africans were legally they were legally treated as property and not as human beings. You know the impact of colonialism when those whites they came to Africa. A lot of people really went through hard way because a lot of families they were separated, and also those people they were stripped of their humanity and forced to build wealthy for others through their labor. They did a lot of work whereby they were even doing those work without even getting any wages. So you can see a lot of people really suffered during at that time. She also pointed out that when slavery was abolished, compensation was paid to many slave owners, those people who own those slaves, and for their financial losses, while the formerly enslaved people they never received anything. So you can see there's nothing adding up there, because a lot of those people who are slave there, they're those people who are supposed to receive that compensation, not the people who own them. I also think she's making it clear that this is no longer just Caribbean issue. More countries and international organizations are discussing the legacy of slavery and colonialism, because it affects its effects can still be seen in many parts of the world today. Whether someone agrees with the reparation or not, I believe her main message is that we cannot simply ignore history. Each and every country has got its own history, and it is very difficult for us to forget our own history or pretend its consequences disappeared because with the time, because there are some of the things that are left holes on your skin, and it is very difficult for you to forget them. So history can never be forgotten. And if you know very well that history repeats itself. So guys, understanding the past help us understand the present, and having a honest respectful conversation is an important step towards building a fairer future for everyone, guys. And the leaders like Mia Montley are making sure this conversation stays on the international agendas, guys. Whether you agree with her or not, it is clear that she wants the words to continue seriously about the legacy of slavery and colonialism instead of simply moving on without discussion. So guys, do you think former colonial powers should have conversation about reparations? Or do you think there are other ways to address the legacy of slavery and colonialism? So guys, I want to hear your thoughts, and I want to say thank you for watching out this video. And if you are new here, guys, please don't forget to hit that subscription button and also comment and like this video. Let us grow together. Wagwan, my people. Until next one.